It's the Last Stand Podcast. And here's your host, Brian Custer.
That's right, The Last Stand, the unfiltered, straight talk from some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment. And joining me today, our guest comes from the sport of boxing. He is the WBC lightweight champion of the world. He is known as the Dream. He is none other than Devin Haney. Devin, welcome to The Last Stand.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, Brian.
Good to have you on. And listen, last time we saw you, man, you got yourself a lopsided victory over Yuriorkis Gamboa. When will we see the Dream back in the ring defending your title?
I'm looking to get back in the ring as soon as possible. In the Gamboa fight, I didn't take any punishment. I won every single round, and I feel good. I feel great. Early next year, I'm looking to get back.
And when we talk about early next year, we talking March, we talking April, February. When do you think?
I'm thinking February, March. That's what we're looking at.
Okay.
But if anything comes up before then, of course, I'm willing to take it because I'm always in shape. I'm always training, and I'm always ready to go.
Devin, what do you think? What separates the lightweight division from all the others in boxing?
It's so much young talent. It's so much talent in general, but it's so much young talent. There's so much guys on their way up, but that just happen to have belts. So that's what just separates it. That it's good guys, but we're all young and we're all climbing up. Like people label us as almost prospects because we're so young, but in reality, we're world champions. So that's just what separates us.
Generally, when people look at the state of boxing, a lot of them will look really to the welterweight because the big names there and say, okay, that's the best division. Lightweight division, best division in boxing. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I think the lightweight division is the best division in boxing. At first, I would say it was the heavyweight, but as of now, it's the lightweight division. It's so many big fights to be made, so many big names. Right now, it's the best division.
What separates Devin Haney from all those other great fighters at lightweight?
My skill set, my work ethic. My skill set is just different from those guys, and in my fights, it has shown. I dominate my opponents. I make them look inexperienced. I pitch shutouts so badly that people, they criticize my opponents. They criticize my lack of opponents because I pitch shutouts, because I don't lose rounds. I don't lose any seconds of the fight. So that's when the fans look at my opponents like, oh, well, he wasn't worthy. He wasn't this. He wasn't that. But when, for example, when Gamboa fought other people, he had success. No matter when the fight was, whether it was his last fight or it was 5 fights ago, even if he lost the fight, he still won rounds. He still made it a war. With me, it wasn't a war. I didn't lose a second of the fight. I didn't lose a round. So, people, they could say what they want to, but my skill set is on a whole other level.
Former champion Javier Fortuna has put in a formal request to fight you. What are the chances you think we see Haney Javier Fortuna fight?
I tried to fight Javier Fortuna in the past. Before this fight, I wanted to fight Javier Fortuna. Fortuna somehow, he put in a request to fight for an interim belt, and some whole other stuff happened. But I'm willing to fight the best. I'm not ducking or dodging anybody. Anybody that's willing to step in the ring and it's worth it, then I'll fight. And I said this over and over and over again. And no one has tried to call my bluff. Nobody has, tried to see if it's really true. But in reality, it is true. I want to make the biggest fights happen. I want to show the world that I'm the best. And only time will tell.
So let me ask you this then, Devin. If it was because you're your own promoter. You have your own promoter's license and things of that nature. If it's up to Devin Haney, give me your next 3 opponents.
My next 3 opponents, so many big fights. I like Devonte Davis. I like Teofimo. No, my next would be Teofimo Lopez because that would be for all the belts, of course. I would want to be the undisputed champion in the lightweight division. Then I would say Devonte Davis. Then the two fights that I would say I really want, and it really means something.
One guy, and before we get into some other guys who've talked about you, you were quoted as saying Lopez, Garcia, Ryan Garcia, Devonte Davis, they are good. You said, but I'm special. What do you mean by that?
And like I said earlier, my skill set, my work ethic, my everything that I bring to the table is just special. You might see these guys. Oh, they might knock guys out, and they might have a spectacular performance right now. But in the end, the boxer, the guy with the better skill set, always lasts long. You go back to the Sugar Ray days, to whatever days, Ali, whatever days you want to go to. The boxer always finished last, and at the end of it, I'm going to be on top.
Mm. And I'm happy you talked about that because it seems like whenever the critics talk about Devin Haney, they always say the same thing. As you talked about, great skill set, great boxer, but not an exciting fighter, doesn't have the punching power needed to go toe-to-toe with the prolific lightweights of the division. How do you respond to that?
I mean, everybody has a right to their own opinion. At the end of the day, when I get in the ring with these guys, we shall see. If I don't have the punching power, why these guys aren't quick to get in the ring with me? I got a belt. It's the most money that they'll make in up to date in their career. So if they really feel like I was such an easy fight, why aren't these guys so quick to just beat me, to stop me from running my mouth, to get me out of there? They're not. So these guys can say what they want to say. The critics can say what they want to say. But in reality, the proof is in the pudding.
Mm. Terrence Crawford was quoted as saying, quote, "The one fighter they better watch out for is Devin. Devin is a boxing mother. I don't care if people don't like him," end quote. What do you think about that?
That's my boy. Bud know what it is at the end of the day. He's a guy who's not biased, who's not trying to, play any side of the field, and he just speaking the truth. In reality, it's the truth. They can say what they want to, but when I get in there and I box your socks off, and then I just may knock you out, then they'll see.
You also said that your goal is to be the first boxing billionaire.
Yes,
how you plan on making that happen?
Smart investments, not just blowing my money. Of course, I don't see myself just doing it all in a boxing ring. Which, if I could do it all in a boxing ring, of course I will. But it's about making smart investments, and that's what I'm setting myself up now. And that's when my promotional company comes in, and just buying real estate, doing things like that to set myself up for the future.
You've certainly had a lot of back and forth with a number of fighters. So what I kind of wanted to do here, Devin, is kind of go through each one of them and get your response to what they said. We had Devonte Davis, obviously, on the show, and we brought up your name. And Devonte Davis's response was, quote, "Clout baby. He's a clout baby. All he does is call people out for clout. He doesn't really want to fight me." What's your response?
He never called my bluff in reality. If he really feels like I don't want to fight him, send a contract my way, or tell Floyd or Leonard to reach out to my team, and let's see. That's what it is. Point blank period. If I don't try to make a fight happen, or start negotiating, then he can say, "Oh, he's capped. He don't really want to make the fight." We sent him a contract, and he didn't want to make it happen, like we did Gary Russell.
Mm-hmm. And you guys, obviously, because you've been in Vegas, you've spent some time in Florida. Have you guys ever run into each other, or even talked personally one-on-one about fighting each other?
No, we never talked about fight. We talked. Me and him talked in the DM a little bit about fighting, like probably like 3 days ago.
And what was the conversation? What did you guys say?
we was just talking shit. We was just talking shit. I told him to send let's fight, and he said let's do it. Like we just was talking shit. We probably talked shit probably for like hours in the DM. We just kept going back and forth, back and forth. It was fun though.
What do you think is the reality though that we will see a Haney Tank Davis fight?
I think it could happen. I think it's realistic. I mean, at the end of the day, the fans would love to see it. It's a huge fight, and I think that it could happen. I don't know when it will happen. I don't know how soon it will happen, but I think it could happen.
Another person we had on the show, Adrian Broner, and we brought up your name. And in Adrian Broner's response when we brought up Devin Haney, quote, "What would I get out of knocking out Devin Haney? All the people are going to say I was just too big, too strong for him. Devin Haney, that's nothing," end quote. What's your response?
I mean, that's who did AB fight his last fight? Oh, he fought Pacquiao, right?
Yes.
He knocked him out?
He did not. He lost.
Who he fought before that?
That's a great question. Who did he fight before that?
He did not Granados out. Who else did he fight? We can go on the list.
Yeah, he's had a rough stretch there. Yeah,
we could go fight for fight. And he didn't knock those guys out. So why would he think he would knock me out? Knock it off.
And the guy you mentioned, Gary Russell Jr. So he, obviously went on social media and said that you sent him a bogus term sheet over. And then he said, after watching your fight with Gamboa, quote, "That's the reason why you sent over that bogus term sheet. You jump in that water with me, you'll get eaten alive," end quote.
Skip. We could skip him.
Tell me why. What is it about Gary Russell Jr. that just rubs you wrong?
Whole lot of cap. You can skip. Just skip him.
Okay. Another guy, Ryan Garcia. He said, talking about you, Devin Haney, he said, quote, "He's fought easy guys. So that's why he hasn't really done anything special. He's fought guys that he should get out there quick, but he doesn't do it. Devonte Davis fights, he does something crazy. When I fight, I do something special. Haney hasn't done that, and he hasn't fought anybody hard." How do you respond to that?
Who has he fought? If I fought so many easy guys and I was so easy, I must be easy. Come get me. If you really felt like that, if that really was how you felt, then you would just come get me, beat me, take my belt, get the easy money, and walk off with an easy night. If that's really how you feel.
Do you see a Ryan Garcia fight in your future?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a huge fight. Ryan has a huge fan base. We've fought since we were kids. I think that eventually it could be a huge fight.
And another guy who we just had on recently, Teofimo Lopez, called you, quote, "an email champion." He said that you two have sparred a couple times back in the day. First of all, what happened when you guys sparred?
So we sparred one time. We sparred at this one gym. I outboxed him so crazy. He was frustrated the whole time. Him and his dad, they left. They was mad or whatever the case may be. So they asked for another spar session. That's when we did that at the Mayweather boxing gym. And that time was easier than the first time. He was frustrated the whole time. I'm going to tell you the truth. Like, this was before he had a buzz or anything like that. So I didn't really know him like that. Well, I knew him from the amateurs. I knew him from being at tournaments, but I didn't think nothing of him. Take that back. I did know him, but I didn't think nothing of him. Like, I didn't think he was nothing special. So we went in the boxing ring and just like, another day, like another sparring session. So when he wanted some get back, I was like, all right, we could do it. So we did at the Mayweather boxing gym, and it was easy. It was like he didn't honestly. Of course, we've seen that he can punch. We seen it in his fights and all that. But in sparring, he couldn't punch, honestly. But even though I know sparring is different than fighting is different, but in reality, it's the truth.
How long ago are we talking? You guys are. I assume you guys were teenagers.
I would say maybe 3 years ago.
What do you think about him calling you an email champion?
I mean, these guys can say what they want to say. They're going to continue to talk. It's not my job to listen to what they say. It is what it is. But I'm here to make the big fights happen. If I was so easy, these guys would be begging for me. These guys would be begging to fight me. These guys, no disrespect to Ryan Garcia. I like Ryan Garcia. I think that he has a lot of skills. I have him to beat Campbell. Me and Shakur Stevenson have a $5,000 bet. I'm betting on Ryan to beat Campbell. I think Ryan has a lot of skills. I think he has more skills than people give him credit for. But I forgot what I was even about to say now at this point.
You were alluding to Teofimo Lopez.
Okay, yeah. These guys are begging for Ryan Garcia. Begging. Every top guy. He doesn't even have the belt. These guys are begging to fight him. Why? Why are you begging to fight him?
And were you impressed what Teofimo did against Lomachenko?
I wouldn't. No disrespect to him. I wouldn't say I was impressed with what Teofimo did to Loma. Of course, I was surprised that he beat him, but I was more surprised to what Loma didn't do. He didn't throw punches for 7 rounds, 7 rounds. I couldn't understand it.
Teofimo obviously is represented by Top Rank, and Bob Arum, who has spoken out a lot, not only about Bud Crawford, but also talked about you. And they asked Bob Arum about you, and he said, talking about Devin Haney, he hasn't proven anything. You haven't proven yourself to be a tough champion because you've opted for easy opponents, and because you haven't been in any big fights. A fight with Teofimo wouldn't generate any revenue. What do you think about what Bob Arum said?
Bob Arum said this time and time again. He has no intentions on doing any type of business with me. I don't know. It may be something about the past when it came to signing a contract or whatever the case may be. But it is what it is. He really. The fans have to put the pressure on it. Because he's going to act like Devin is average Joe Blow and all this, all that. And in reality, I'm a bigger name than Teofimo Lopez, and it is what it is, whether belts or not. But I'm still a bigger name, so
yeah.
Bob can say what he want to say. It is what it is.
Out of Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, Devonte Davis, which one of those fights do you see being coming to you first and being more realistic? I think
Teofimo Lopez. Because I think that Teofimo does want to fight me. I think Teofimo actually really wants to fight me. Maybe he really doesn't like me or whatever the case may be, but I think that he really don't want to fight me. I mean, I think that he really wants to fight me. Yeah, Ryan, not so much. Tank, no.
When do you? How long do you see yourself at 135? When do you see Devin Haney moving up to 140?
I mean, I was saying that I want to go up to 140, but it's so many big fights at 135. It's so much smoke, so many big fights, so much money. It's like I might as well just stay. I will, wait another year to sacrifice and make the weight to stay and make these big fights happen.
Got it. So you could conceivably see yourself at 135 for like the next two fights, but maybe in a year's time going up to 140.
Yes, definitely.
Got it. I want to get because you're such a skilled fighter and young in the game. What do you think about these YouTubers, the Logans and the Jake Pauls doing these fights? Is it good for the sport?
I think that is good for the sport because it brings more fans, it brings more attention to the sport. Jake and Logan are two of my friends, so you know I didn't train with. When I say Jake, we didn't train together, so no disrespect to them. I like both of those guys. I think it's good because they're bringing attention to the sport, but I can say that they are putting YouTubers and not only them, YouTubers and other guys in different fields, but they're celebrities on a much higher pedestal than other actual boxers who eat, sleep, drink boxing daily. They're putting them on a way higher pedestal than the guys who actually really dedicate themselves and been doing this their whole life. These guys can just say, forget boxing, I'm done with boxing, never box again, and it is what it is. But the guys who sacrificed and worked their whole life to get to this point, they can't, because this is all that they know.
Yeah. What about the old champions and the great champions like the Mike Tysons? Now Evander Holyfield wants to come back. Are those exhibitions and seeing Roy Jones, seeing these guys in these exhibitions, are those good for the sport?
I think it was good for the sport. It brought a lot of attention to the sport as well. Everybody was watching. Everybody was, wanted to see how it went and whatever the case may be. But I just don't want to see him too much. Like, I don't want to just. It's cool every once in a while, but just to see it happen often, I don't really want to see it. They're legends. I want their name to live on in a good space. I don't want to see them, when they're older and they're, not in shape, not as much, and they don't look as good. I remember Mike as Mike Tyson. I remember Roy Jones as Roy Jones. So that's all.
Now, look, we've seen you work out a lot in Mayweather gym. We've seen you work out with Floyd. How is Floyd Mayweather as a trainer?
Floyd is good because it's Floyd. Floyd, who has more experience than Floyd Mayweather, and in this day and age? I don't think nobody. So of course Floyd has the experience, and he can teach you from his point of view and what he's been through in the ring, what he saw in the ring. So that's what was good about Floyd.
And if there was one thing nugget that you've taken from him and working with him that you've added to your toolbox, what would that be?
He did not get hit, as you see. I win. I look good. It's about having longevity in it. My one thing that my dad always installed in me, and what we've learned, along the way from many different great trainers, the list goes on and on and on, is to hit and not get hit. At the end of the day, I want to have longevity in the sport. It's not about rock'em sock'em. It's not about me taking punishment for people's excitement and people's enjoyment. And some people just want to see me get knocked out, so they would tell me, "Oh, yeah, he's boring. He's this, he's that," because I won every single round and I didn't get touched and I left with unblemished. They're mad about that, but it's about hitting and not get hit. And at the end of the day, that's what I've been doing. I make my opponent.
Yeah, does that ever upset you, Devin, when people say that? I mean, because you are, but when they say, "Man, he's just boring," does that criticism does it ever upset you?
I would rather them say that I'm boring than that. He has too much heart. He has too much balls. He's rock'em sock'em. He's a guy who's it's either you're gonna get him or he's gonna get you. I would rather that me be looking like this and feeling like this than to being right now, be hurt or, got dropped 3 times but knocked the guy out after that. I would rather that.
Got it. All right. For people who watch the show, Devin, we allow them to submit questions. So we got a number of them on social media. So I want to get right to them for you. Let's start on Twitter. And I guess obviously this person must know you in the gym. It says, how was the sparring you had with Tank?
The sparring was good. I was about 16 years old. Me and Tank, we sparred at the Mayweather gym. It was basically doghouse rules, fight to whoever quit first. And I want to say my dad placed a bet with AB's dad. I think he bet for like some thousands of dollars. And my dad had his money when we left, so that just tells you that.
So it was Devonte who said that's it. I'm done, huh?
We walked away with the money.
This one comes from Twitter as well. Says, do you see yourself and Shakur Stevenson fighting in the future?
Right now, Shakur Stevenson's doing his thing. We'll wait to see at 130. Eventually, down the line, if the fight comes to fruition and we can make it happen, then of course, me and Shakur have a lot of history together. We've been friends since we were little kids. We've been traveled all around the world together. Being on the world team, and Shakur came to stay with me at my house and all that. So we got a lot of history together. We got to if it comes down the line, then it comes down the line. But as of right now, he's doing his thing. I'm doing mine.
Got it. This one also comes from Twitter. It says, you were beginning to stop guys before your shoulder injury. Did the shoulder surgery and rehab affect your power?
I wouldn't say that it affected my power because I don't make any excuses. But at the end of the day, I'm pitching shutouts. I'm getting the win. I didn't lose the round in my last fight, and we got the win. So that's all that matters.
This one, again, from Twitter, it says, Devin, when are you going to fight a first top-ranked fighter opponent? So I guess someone who's ranked in the top 10.
Well, they have to be. He's asking the question, or he or she were asking this question, but they really aren't educated enough. When I fought for the interim belt, we were in a tournament. It was me, Luke Campbell, Loma, and Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez. Everybody was ranked. And whatever. Teofimo went one way. Loma and Campbell fought, and I fought Zara Abdullah that was ranked number 2. We fought for the interim belt. That's when I won the interim belt, and that's when Loma got bumped up to franchise, and that's how I became world champion. So,
got it.
Gamboa was just ranked number 10 in the WBC.
This one from Twitter, Trap Media asks, is a fight with Robert Easter still a possibility?
No, I don't gain anything from Robert Easter.
Okay. This one comes from Twitter as well. It says, Eddie Hearn is the king of weak fights. Why would you sign with him besides the money?
I make a lot of money, so I don't know what he's talking about.
And that's another question someone asked. It seems like there are a number of fighters who say, hey, look, when I want big fights, when I want to make money, obviously they go over to the PBC. You chose DAZN, and tell me why DAZN, Eddie Hearn.
Well, one of the main things was that they were willing to co-promote with me. And that was one of the main things I wanted to sign a co-promotional deal. And two, I believed in the streaming platform. I believed in, the new millennials and all that stuff. And then the third was, at the end of the day, I make the most in the lightweight division. And in reality, I do. We can pull up the numbers. We can pull up whatever it is. If we want to go speak about facts, I make the most.
And so you say that's why those guys need to come to you as opposed to vice versa.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm willing to do whatever it is to make the fights happen. I'm begging for these fights. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm not saying that, but it's facts.
Devin Haney, we come to the last segment of this show. We call it The Last Stand. I'm asking you a series of questions. I just want the first thing that comes to your mind. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Out of all the fighters that you've had some beef with, which one really upsets you the most?
Which one upsets me the most? It was this one dude. His name was like Joseph Laws or some shit like that. He was like a UK fighter, and he would just troll me. He would just say the craziest stuff, and it would just like really get under my skin. These other fighters in the lightweight division, they don't make me upset. They don't make me mad.
I just knew you were going to say Gary Russell Jr. I just knew you were going to say
I forgot about Gary. He's second. Gary Russell really just like irks me.
No, listen, I asked Bud Crawford the same question, and it was Gary Russell Jr. But what is it about Gary Russell that just irks you?
He's fucking cap. He just says anything. He just says the worst, the craziest shit you could possibly think of. He just says anything. That guy's crazy.
Okay. Devin Haney aside, who is the next best fighter at 135 pounds?
You saying on the come up?
Devin Haney aside, if you had to pick the best fighter at 135,
the best fighter at 135.
Best fighter at 135, not named Devin Haney. Who is it?
Teofimo.
Okay. Who do you believe, Devin Haney, is pound for pound best fighter in the world right now?
Bud.
Do you want to see Mike Tyson fight in another exhibition fight?
No.
And last but not
least, no disrespect.
Right. I understand. I got you. Last but not least, a year from now, finish this statement. Devin Haney will be what?
Pound for pound best fighter in the world.
Bro, that's strong.
And we'll see. But we're going to bring this interview up. We're going to bring this conversation up. And you're going to play it. You'll be like, wow, this is crazy.
I love it. Devin Haney, man, this has been fun. I appreciate you taking the time to do it. By the way, everybody who comes on the show, Devin Haney, we got new merch, so we got to send you a Last Stand shirt, okay? You can use it when you work out, whatever. So I got to make sure and get you one, okay?
Sure, I appreciate that.
Brother, I appreciate you. And listen, folks, that's what we do here on The Last Stand. We bring you the biggest names in sport and entertainment, just like the dream, Devin Haney. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.